Purpose discovery the easy way. How can you easily discover your purpose? So in order for us to do that, I'm going to ask the first question, which is, what is purpose? What is purpose? All right. We know purpose to mean, all right, if you check the dictionary, the basic definition of what purpose is, it is the reason for which something is done or created, the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. The reason for which something is done or created, or the reason for which something is existing. So in this context, when we talk about your own purpose, we are answering the question of the reason for your existence, all right? The reason for your being created, the reason why God created you, and the reason why you are existing. Why are you here on earth? So to answer that question, we're going to take a look at a whole lot of stuff at this point in order to find out, in order to discover why we are existing. So the meaning of the word purpose is the reason for your existence, the reason why you are here, the reason why you are created. All right. So, and I believe that it is God that created you. God made you in his own image, and he didn't make you, all right, for fun. He created you for a purpose. And the moment you start becoming aware of this reality, that there is a reason why God created you, it will put your life in focus. It will put your life begins to have a deeper meaning. Every action you take begins to make sense to you. You become more intentional. Now, I usually say that when it's difficult for you to make a choice, whenever it's difficult for you to take a stand, whenever it's difficult for you to make a choice, all right, it's simply because it's a sign that you are not aware of your purpose. It's a sign that you do not yet know or have discovered what your purpose is. Because when you understand the reason why you have been created, when you understand the role you are called to play, when you understand the assignments that has been given to you, then you can easily make a choice. Then you can easily know and be able to distinguish what you should be doing and what you shouldn't do, where you should be and where you shouldn't be. All right? The people to hang out with and the people you shouldn't hang out with. The things you should be associated with and the things you shouldn't associate with. Okay, let's take for example, the spoon is created. The purpose of a spoon is to take food and put in your mouth. All right. Now, if the spoon understands that this is the reason for my existence, to take food and put in your mouth, then the spoon will know that it has no business in the bank. When he's asked by his friends, man, let's go and hang out in the bank, the spoon already understands that I've got no business in a banking hall because there is no food there. Food is not being served there. Once I get in there, I'm going to be useless. If someone picks up a spoon in a banking hall, what he's going to do is he's going to pick it up and put it in the trash. So you will begin to understand the reason why a lot of times you see that people do not regard you. A lot of times people do not get to associate with you or get to find a reason, get to find what you can serve them with. A lot of times it's as if that you are being disregarded, you are being overlooked, probably because you are in the wrong place. Where you are has no room for your purpose. So when you understand, when you discover your purpose, it puts your life in a proper perspective. It guides your steps. It helps you to make choices, make decisions easier. And you see that life and happiness become something that you can easily lay your hands on. So it's quite important that you understand what your purpose is and begin to walk in that line. So, Rick Warren, the author of the book, The Purpose-Driven Life, asked a particular question, an outstanding question, and I'm going to ask you tonight. And he asked in his book, what on earth am I here for? What an outstanding question. What on earth am I here for? So I'm asking you, what on earth are you here for? As I'm asking you this question, I expect you to also ask yourself this question. What on earth am I here for? Now, take a moment and ponder on that question. What on earth am I here for? I don't want you to recite it in your head. I want you to visibly and audibly ask yourself so that you can hear yourself. What on earth am I here for? So what on earth are you here for? What is your role here on earth? What is your assignment? What is your purpose? Now, you are here on the earth to fulfill the purpose for which God created you. Now, the question is, what did he create me for? Because until you discover what you were created for, you cannot fulfill it. How can you live a life you do not know? But the reality is, whether you are aware of this or not, whether you know your purpose or not, whether you know what you are here on earth for or not, the reality is that you are fulfilling a particular purpose right now. So the question is it your purpose that you are fulfilling or the purpose of another? And that's the reality. You are either fulfilling your own purpose or you are fulfilling the purpose of another. Now, what brings fulfillment is when you fulfill the purpose for which you have been created for. When you fulfill another purpose that you were not created for, that is where frustration comes in. That is where disappointment comes in. That's where sadness comes in. So the question again is, what on earth are you here for? So the purpose of this meeting tonight, of this webinar, is to show you what you on earth you are here for. There's a particular scripture that fascinates me quite a lot, and it puts a leverage, it gives you a leverage on why you should find what on earth you are here for, and gives you a leverage on why you should do that. On why you should do that. And we're going to look at it. It's in Colossians chapter 4, verse 17. And it talks about, I try to look at the Message translation. It says, do your best in the job, all right? Do your best in the job you received from the master. Do your very best. Do your best in the job you have received from the master, and do your very best. Now the question is, what is that job? What job have you received from the master? And it says, when you realize this job that you have received from the master, then it says, do your best in the job. Do your very best. Why should you do your very best in it? Number one, basically, whatever that is worth doing is worth being done well. Number two, the master rewards. At the end of the day, you are going to be called upon to give an account of the job you have been given to do. So how well are you going to do this job? And it says, do your best. Do your very best. Now, why should you do your very best? Because when you don't do your best, a whole lot of people are going to suffer for it. That is number one. Number two, if you do not do your best in this job, in this purpose, you are going to be the number one person that will suffer for it. Number three, if you do not do your best, you are going to lose on your happiness. You're going to lose on the feeling of being fulfilled. You're going to lose on the feeling of being satisfied. Like the analogy I gave earlier about the spoon, all right? When the spoon understands that I am created to take food and put in the mouth, and the spoon now suddenly finds himself, all right, in the garden, and they are using him to till the ground. At the end of the day, he's going to get bruised, he's going to get frustrated, and he's going to get worn out. Why? Because it's been put to wrong use. It's not being put to its very best. Now, that explains why a lot of times you find yourself toiling, doing this, being busy in this activity or that activity, and at the end of the day, you are not feeling, that satisfaction, that feeling of reward of what you are doing. So this is a leverage for you to do your best in your purpose, because when you don't do that, you will lose out on your happiness, you will lose out on your joy, you will lose out on your peace, you will lose out on your fulfillment. Number two, there are people who are going to suffer because you are not playing your role. You are here as a light. And when you don't shine your light, when the light is not turned on, darkness comes in. And when there is darkness, the tendency that people are going to trip is there. The tendency that people are going to fall into a ditch is there. The tendency that people are going to knock over stuff is there. The tendency that people are it's not just a tendency, the people are going to become afraid, people are going to become anxious, people are going to suffer. Now, every suffering here on planet Earth is an absence of someone's purpose being released. The earth is a circle. It's a symbiotic circle, a symbiotic relationship. All right? You feed, you get fed. You feed, you get fed. You feed, you get fed. So when I am not feeding, someone else is not being fed. Hey, I need you to get this. When you are not living your purpose, someone else is losing out. Now, remember, this is number two. Number one is that you, as a person, you are losing out. You are losing out big time on your joy, your peace, your satisfaction. You are losing out. Then number two, someone else is losing now. How long are you going to continue to lose out and cause someone else also to lose out? So do your best in the job you have received from the master and do your very best. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that, isn't that outstanding? Male looking at this, you should pump in some fresh energy inside of you that I am found worthy. I am being counted worthy to do something as the best person for that job, that means I've got what it takes. You've got what it takes. You've got what it takes. You do. You've got what it takes. Now, I'm going to ask you 3 basic questions in order to find out what is this job. And it's where the rubber meets the road. So I want you to take a pen, all right? Get a pen, get a writing material, and I'm going to ask you these 3 questions. And I believe, because over the years I've seen this question unlock the reality, unlock the awareness of your purpose to several individuals. And I'm sure it's going to do the same thing for you right now. Now, to find out this job you have been tasked to do your very best in, the first question is, let's say you have just 6 months to live. What will you be doing? Let's say you have just 6 months to live. What will you be doing? Did you get that? Did you get that? Let's say you have just 6 months to live. What will you be doing? Yeah, we'll say, God forbid, for me to have 6 months to live, all right? But the question is clear. What will you be doing, assuming you've got just 6 months to live? You might not get that answer right now, but I want you to write it down and think about it. Because the truth is, your purpose is right there within you. Nobody can come and tell you, this is your purpose, it is X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and go ahead and start doing that. Nobody else has that answer apart from you. So I'm helping you with these questions to unlock that answer. Is right there in your heart. So let's say you have 6 months from now to live. What will you be doing? The second question I'm going to ask you is this. If you are to do a job with no pay, if you're going to do a job, there is no pay, there is no salary, there is no other reward. Apart from the only reward you are going to get is that you are going to be, you are going to be fulfilled, you are going to get joy, and you're going to get peace. What would that job be? You are going to do a job. And in that job, I said, this job I want you to do, all right? I'm not going to pay you a dime. The only payment you are going to get is this: fulfillment, that peace, that warmth that you are fulfilled. The payment is that you're going to be fulfilled, you're going to be satisfied, you're going to get peace, you are going to get joy. What will that job be? That's 2. 3, number 3. If you get the opportunity to be on the biggest stage in the world, if you get the opportunity to be on the biggest stage in the world, let's say you are invited to come to the United Nations, or you are invited to come to the World Bank, whatever is the biggest stage in your profession, in your line of work, in your career, you are invited to the biggest stage, okay? Which one of the world's problems will you solve, assuming you have unlimited resources? If you get the opportunity to be on the biggest stage in the world globally, which one of the world's problems will you solve first, assuming you have unlimited resources? Did you get those three questions? If you did, let me know in the chat. Just type in there, I got all three. Fantastic. Beautiful. Beautiful. So these three questions, I call them the Trinity of Purpose. Call them the Trinity of Purpose. Now, as you when you start thinking along these lines, it will bring you to a moment of self-reflection, and you'll begin to see why you should be doing, or what you should be doing. So you see that when I talk about the purpose of your life, it goes beyond just knowing the reason for your existence, or really knowing what you are created for. Now, usually the challenge why a lot of people find the subject of purpose difficult when it comes to purpose discovery, say what's your purpose, and it looks like an uphill task for people to know what their purpose is, to discover, to find what their purpose is because we usually think of purpose to be an activity. We usually think it to be something that that you can just call a particular name. Let's say, for example, someone will say, my purpose is to play the keyboard, or my purpose is to sing, my purpose is to swim. It's not usually straightforward that way. Because the more you want to quantify, the more you want to put it in, a word. A lot of time people want to describe their purpose with one word. It's not usually with one word. A lot of times, purpose is all encompassing. It is deeper than just identifying one thing. Because when you start thinking along the lines of these questions I asked you, when you start getting the answers to these questions, you realize that, man, it goes just beyond being one thing in life. You will also see that it is transient. You will also see that it evolves, it grows, it develops over time. So when I look at purpose, I start from the point of purpose discovery, and I don't stop at that discovery. I go ahead to the point of development. We begin to develop the purpose that you have discovered. And while you're developing it, that's where you get into different aspects, all right? You're going to see different branches, different, expressions of your purpose. From the development, you get into deployment. Deployment is when you now put it into use, where it now begins to solve problems. Let me tell you a story. I enjoy this story a lot because, or an analogy, because it helps me to fully express the subject of purpose. Now, 3 men were called in to dig a ditch, all right? They were called to dig a hole, and they were assigned this job. As they dig this hole, they were called to dig a hole, and at the end of the day, they were going to get paid, okay? Now, when they got to the site, their purpose was made clear. Dig this hole. They were given the measurements, the dimensions, and all that, and they got to work. Now, somebody comes along and asks Mr. A, hey, man, what are you doing? Mr. A said, I'm digging a hole. The man said, fantastic, good job, thumbs up, all right? And he answered correctly. He was digging a hole. That was a purpose for which he was called on to do. He was digging a hole. Now, the second man was asked, hey, man, what are you doing? He said, I am digging a hole that's going to take the water pipe that will send water to that building site going on over there. The guy said, thumbs up, good job, well done, keep it up. Did he answer the question well? Yes, he did. Did he understand his purpose? Yes, he did. Good job. Now the third man was asked, hey man, what are you doing? He said, wow, I am digging a hole that is going to take the water pipe to that building site over there, and it's going to help to build a cathedral that is going to seat 500 people. And this cathedral is going to have beautiful glasses on the windows, and it's going to be the biggest and the most beautiful thing in this city. Wow. Now, which of these men understood their purpose? The first man understood what he was doing. He was digging a hole. He was right in his answer. Yes, he was digging a hole. The second man went further and said, yes, I'm digging a hole that's going to take the water pipe. But the third man, didn't just stop at what he was doing at the moment. He saw the ripple effect of his purpose. He saw the ripple effect of his current action. He saw the ripple effect of his current situation. So the third man is going to be much more effective in developing his purpose, in deploying his purpose. So he's not just going to stop at a discovery, but he's going to go ahead to develop and to deploy, because he understands what he's doing. Now, at the end of the day, when 3 of them gets paid, the first man is going to go home, all right, with his pay. Yeah, I've been paid, all right. He goes home with his money. The second man, the same thing, but the third man is going to go home with satisfaction. Why? Because he understands that he has not just received money, but that pride that he is part of the most beautiful and biggest site in the city. He understands what he has done that is going to affect 500 people. It's going to affect generations to come. It's going to affect people that are going to come after him. So purpose is not just what you see on the surface. Don't see that, okay, when I answer these 3 questions, I threw at you and you stated, no, you take it beyond where you started. Purpose discovery the easy way. Beautiful. 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 Did you get that? Let me know that you got that. Fantastic. Awesome. Beautiful.